Side.
Right side? Alright.
You're gonna pop that door open. It's just a silver latch. And you're gonna pull it toward your chest. There you go.
Nice. This is us today.
Alright.
Cessna 172.
So this is a 172.
Alright, so I step up on this thing, right?
You can just kind of lean yourself in
Or just kind of throw in?
Yep. We're just gonna get everything situated. So we're just gonna get our headsets out, throw those in.
Alright.
Okay, cool. Once you get your headsets out, you're gonna take your two prongs. There's gonna be two little holes over here, a big one and a small one. Only go in one way. Okay, cool. Next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna start a nice little pre-flight here. I'm gonna walk you through the checklist. We're gonna go through this stuff kind of quick. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask along the way.
Alright.
Alright, here we go. Here's our pre-flight checklist. So we're gonna run through this quick entire checklist here. So documents, we're checking Aero, which is airworthiness certificate, which is right here. A registration certificate, which is right over here. Making sure that that's current as well. Looks like it expires in 2024. We're good. Just like a registration for a car.
Yep.
And then your operator's handbook. So your operator's handbook should be back here behind the seat. It's back here. So
Nice.
we'll pull this bad boy out. This book is specific to this aircraft, which has all the emergency checklists, weight and balance and stuff in here that are required. So this must always be in possession at all times, anytime that we're flying the airplane. So it's there. You can see it's got everything we need, and it is specific to this time number, which these two match. So
Nice.
there we go. All right, cool. Next thing is the control lock. So this is your control lock right here. Some people call it a gust lock. It's the same thing. If you turn your controls left and right, they will not move. It's just there for wind conditions. It kind of keeps the airplane stable. But we're gonna go ahead and remove that. So if you just kind of want to pull up on that and lift it out.
This one here?
This little pin right here. If you just go and pull it, it's just a little pin that holds the controls in place.
Pull it forward, or
pull it straight up. There you go.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Sweet.
Okay.
So now you can move the controls all over the place. So you're just gonna slide that in a little pocket right here.
All right.
There you go. Perfect. Sweet. Next thing is our magnetos, which is our ignition. So pretty much like a key to your car right here. We're gonna make sure that those are off and the key is not in there for now.
Okay.
Cool. Avionics switch is the next thing we're checking, which is this big white switch right here. Downwards is off, upwards is on. So we're just double checking that that is off. Next thing is the big red master switch over there for the electrical system. Go ahead and flip both of those on there. There you go, perfect. All right, airplane's gonna start coming alive here. First thing we're gonna check is our fuel quantity. Up here is our fuel gauge, just like a car. Left and right tank. We've got about 13 in the left and about 15 in the right. So about 28 gallons total. We only burn about 10 an hour, so we got plenty of fuel.
Nice.
Cool. All right, sweet. Next thing we're gonna check is gonna be the avionics system. So if you go ahead and flip that big white switch upwards, you should hear a fan. So you're gonna see everything kind of start to come alive over here. You can also listen for a fan back there. So cool. Once we hear that, we're just making sure that everything's working properly. Go ahead and flip that off. So go ahead and flip it back down. Sweet. Next thing that we're gonna do is go ahead and flip on all these light switches down here. So don't turn this one on, that's the fuel pump. Turn everything else on. Flip them all up.
So BCN and on?
Yep, beacon, land light, taxi light, nav light, strobe light, pitot heat on. Good, all our lights are on. Next thing we're gonna do is lower these flaps all the way down. The flaps are gonna come down on the wing, and we're making sure that they work on both sides and that they come all the way down. After that, we're gonna take a lap around the airplane and make sure the lights are working. Alright, so for me, everybody does this a little different, but I like to start right here in the front and just make a big circle all the way around the airplane.
Cool.
So, we've got our land and taxi lights right here. Check and make sure that those are both on, they're pretty bright. Over here in the wingtips, we've got our navigation light, which is right on this side, white in the back, and then green on the far side, just like a boat. And then this is our strobe lights, right here, big white flashers. And then in the back, we've got that flashing red beacon light and that white navigation light.
Nice.
Coming back around, we're just gonna check the wingtips one more time, just make sure everything is working.
You said this side should be green?
Yep, so you got green
Green
over
and
here,
strobe.
and then your white flash or strobe.
Nice.
So, there we go. All right, cool. If you want to go back around to your side, we're gonna turn everything off now.
All right.
All right, cool. So what will kill all this stuff immediately is if you just turn that big red switch downwards.
This one?
Yep. Boom, there you go. Everything's turned off. Now you can kind of take your time and just flip all those switches back down.
Is there any specific order I should do them in?
Do them however you want to.
All right.
There you go. Nice job. All right, cool. Now everything in here is checked the way that we need to. Do you have any questions over any of this stuff in here while we're here?
Nope. Not right now.
Sweet, man. All right, we're just gonna double check a couple things. So this is our fuel shut-off valve, push all the way in, and our all air is all the way pushed in as well. So I can double check that stuff. Never know if anything is gonna be messed with before from the previous people that flew this thing.
Yeah.
So
Well, what's the noise that we're hearing currently?
that's the avionics and the gyros behind these instruments winding down a little bit.
Winding out?
Yep.
Okay. And that's the magnetic compass, right? The one up at the top?
That is,
All
yep.
right.
Cool. All right, sweet. Let's go ahead and head outside. All right, we're gonna follow the checklist for today, but in your training, you're gonna learn your own kind of habits of doing everything. For me personally, I like to start in the front and just kind of make my way all the way around the airplane. But the checklist calls that we start back here. So we're gonna follow that. And then, you know, as you get in your own habits and stuff, each and every time that you come fly, you're gonna have to do one of these. So you'll get pretty good at it. You can do the whole thing in probably 5-10 minutes if you get pretty good at it.
Cool.
But today it'll take us probably about 20. So
Oh, no worries.
first thing we're checking is the baggage door. I just like to give it a nice little wiggle, make sure it's not coming loose or anything. If it was open, it would look like that. I just like to make sure it's latched. It's not going anywhere, it's secure.
Nice.
The next thing we're checking is the whole back of the airplane. Just making sure, just doing a visual inspection real quick, that we don't see anything visually appealing to the eye that would concern us, right?
Yeah.
The next thing is
No
just gonna
duct
be
tape needed.
the stabilizer. So this is our horizontal stabilizer and our vertical stabilizer. I'm just checking the surfaces of these, making sure they're nice and smooth. There's gonna be a couple dents here and there just from bugs hitting as we're flying. These things have a ton of hours on them, so they're beat up a little bit, but just making sure they're still safe.
Looking good, man. They're still looking good.
Yep, same thing up here, the vertical, nice and smooth. There's a couple dead bugs on there, but that's a given in Texas. Cool. Then we're gonna move up to the elevator. So this is what, you know, this is, if we look up there in the center, you can see our control line moving back and forth, our controls, our ailerons.
Nice.
So forwards and backwards, up and down. This controls the airplane for a climb or descent.
Dipping, yeah.
So what we're checking here is just making sure that it's nice and smooth. There's no cracking or damage or anything to the actual elevator itself. The whole control surface looks good.
Nice.
In here, you're gonna notice a little small strap. This is called a bonding strap. What that does is it helps diffuse electricity through the airplane.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Every time, you know, you'll see that in the ailerons. I'll point it out to you as well. But this is our rudder. This is how we steer ourselves on the ground with our feet pedals. It does not, it's kind of a little bit different than a car when you're taxiing these things. You'll see that here in a little bit when we get going. You'll see me, if I turn that yoke on the ground, does absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Just because we need airflow going over those surfaces for them to actually work. So, yeah. Again, just checking the overall condition of this, making sure everything's good. I'm just checking that the pulleys are connected down low on both sides. Everything's working. So, it's all good. Over here, same thing. Checking to make sure the elevator is moving nice and free. There's no big damage done to it or anything like that. And then this is called a trim tab. You'll see me adjusting as we're flying a little bit today. It's done by a wheel inside in there. So you never want to pull up or down this because you can throw the alignment of the trim off.
Okay, yeah. And that's always only on the right side?
In the 172 models. The ones that we have, yes. This is an S model. So other models are different. They vary with each model of production, but for this model, if you look at all of them, they're all the same. So
nice.
Cool. Any other questions over anything so far?
Nope.
Sweet. All right, over here's our bonding strap. It's actually broken, which is not a big deal at all, but that just means we won't disperse a lot of electricity through this side of the airplane. It'll all be done on that side, which is fine.
Does that ever become an issue, you think?
No, it's just from time. Like I said, these things have 10,000 hours on the airplane, the airframe, so they're gonna have
just stress on it.
Small stuff.
So as long as, for instance, as long as that one's working, it should actually rotate this one as well, right?
Yeah. So this actually doesn't control the aileron at all, or the elevator at all. This is just helping disperse electricity through the airplane. So let's say our radios pick up some static electricity, it's just going to shoot it to the back towards these things, which are called static wicks.
Okay.
That helps gets rid of that static for us.
Nice.
Has no other purpose other than that. Same thing over here. I'm just checking the smoothness of the actual surface itself. Make sure it's nice and smooth. And I'm just doing a visual inspection of the back of the airplane. All of our antennas are intact up there. Everything's looking good so far. Don't see anything that's standing out to me. Now we're moving on to the right wing section, the main gear and all that good stuff. So first off, I'll check the flat from behind. Same thing as back there. I'm just making sure that it looks good in overall condition. Then I'll come under here. Kind of sucks being tall.
This is gonna be the nice part for me.
And I'll check the bottom side of the flat. A couple things we're checking here. So I always like to check the two brackets that connect to the railing. And I'll check the railing as well and make sure it's nice and straight. So this is the way that these things extend and retract and kind of come back in as well. If they're ever bent, crooked, broken, it could cause damage to the flap itself. So yeah, just kind of doing a visual inspection on that, making sure everything looks good. So once that stuff looks good, we'll move outwards. We're gonna go out to the aileron here. So I'm gonna push this up. You're gonna see that there's a couple connections in the airplane here. There's 3 sets of 4 nuts and bolts and screws.
Yep.
I'm just doing a visual inspection with my eyes and making sure that those are all there and secure. Cool. Also, on windy days, you want to be careful of kind of doing this right here because it'll come down and smash it.
Yeah.
So be careful with that. On windy days, I can just hold it up the whole time. Right? It would hurt. But cool. Over here, we have these things right here. Like, what are these things? These things are called, these are actually lead weights. They're called counterweights. What they do is if we put the aileron in a neutral position like this, it's going to stay where it's at. Those weights kind of hold it in place. If we didn't have that, this thing would kind of just be fluttering back and forth as they're flying.
Yeah.
So, believe it or not, our elevator actually has one in that long kind of side piece there as well. That's all weight. That's all weighted. So every airplane has those. Cool. After that, we're going to move out to the actual wingtip itself. You can see the actual wing stops about here, and the tip cover goes over the top. So it's just made for aerodynamic and kind of Air Forces and stuff. So if you ever see like any cracking or anything here, it's not a big deal. This is just the cover itself. This is not the actual wing.
Okay.
It's very common to see cracking, especially on high time airplanes like all of our trainers, in the screw joints. So it's not a big deal at all. They've drilled stop holes there, which stop the crack from going any further. So that stuff looks good. I like to just check the lights, shake them back and forth, make sure they're not going to fall out or anything as we're flying. So, you know, just checking the operation of things. Next up is going to be, this is our reflector tube. So this just at night, or at nighttime, we can't actually see these from where we sit because the wing blocks it.
Yeah, so
the only time that we can tell they're working is if the light reflects through, we can see it to the bottom.
Nice.
So it's on both sides. Over here, I'm just checking the overall smoothness of the airfoil, which is considered the wing, and just making sure everything looks good. That looks good. The wing strut's all connected to the wing and the fuselage. Everything's looking good with the airplane itself. Now we're going to move down to the gear. I'm just going to check the landing gear strut, make sure it's there in good shape. It's not going anywhere. So I can put some weight on this thing, make sure it can handle it. This is just a cover. The actual gear looks like that. That's underneath this cover. Tucked underneath this cover is also a hydraulic line that goes to the brakes. So what we're checking here is we're checking to make sure that there's no hydraulic fluid showing.
Yep.
That could mean that our master cylinder has like a leak or something, or there's a puncture in the line. That hydraulic fluid would be red color.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
Just checking for a reddish color. If you see that, then just be careful. Definitely have maintenance personnel check that if there is anything that's going on with that. So cool. Next thing we're checking is the actual master cylinder itself. I just kind of like to give it a nice little wiggle, make sure it's nice and secure. It's very common for these to have a little bit of play, but you don't want to be able to just kind of take them off, you know?
Yeah.
So make sure that they're all secure. Next thing we're checking is the brake pads inside the brake disc there, kind of inside the caliper.
Yep. It looks like it's still got some.
Yep, it's still got some good pads. On the right side, it's getting a little worn down, but still got plenty for today. The brake disc is looking smooth. I don't see any bending, cracking, or anything crazy there. Next up is the tire condition. So I just like to make sure it's got good tread. It's inflated. It's not flat. And then that the valve stem, this one doesn't have one. Valve stem hasn't rotated at all. So Yeah, this one right here.
Yeah.
Yep, there should be a little dot on the wheel sometimes that they kind of disappear. Usually it's like right there, which lets you know if the valve stem is rotating at all.
Is that like a colored dot or something?
Yeah,
like
it's usually
that?
a red or yellow dot,
Oh, okay.
something on there that you'll see. There's no specific color they put on there. It's just usually a random color.
Just a, yeah.
Most of the time, yeah. It's kind of whatever they have laying around, I guess. But cool, do you have any questions over this stuff at all?
Nope.
Cool. All right, we'll move up to the nose. On the nose, these things right here, these little screws are called cam locks. These pretty much attach the cowling to each other. And all they are, they're not actual screws like a normal screw that you're used to. They're little cams. So all they do is let's slide out and lock in place. If one comes loose, it will not. It won't fly out unless it's sitting there for a long time, just kind of dangling. It could work itself out. But if you ever see one of these missing, I know it kind of seems crazy, but it's not a big deal. As long as there's not two right next to each other missing.
Okay.
Then it's good. Yeah, just doing a visual inspection, make sure everything looks good with that. Here's the oil right here, just like a dipstick in a car. I kind of just like to peek in there, make sure there's no rodents or anything, no debris in there, right?
Hiding with the warmth.
Yeah, exactly. No snakes curled up in there. I'll check the oil level in this thing. Where's it at? Cool. We're looking to make sure it's right around that 6 quarts levels where you want it.
Cool.
8's the max and 5's the minimum, so 6 is the happy medium. 6, 7. If they get over 7, they'll start spitting it out on the bottom, which creates an ugly mess down there. So
yeah. Should we close this?
Yeah, you can just close it. It's just a little latch pin there. There you go. Sweet. Then we'll start the front here. I always like to check the blade of the propeller. This is where it's dangerous to have those ignition switch on. If that ignition switch is on and you go to turn this thing, it could compress the cylinder and start the engine.
Start it.
You can imagine how bad that would be.
I was wondering if that could, if you can hand start these or
yeah,
something, man. That's crazy.
It's just a direct drive. This is hooked directly into the crankshaft. So,
wow.
yeah, you can actually see the flywheels right here.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. So make sure those ignitions are off. That's the biggest thing. Whenever I go to touch this thing, I'll just run my hand along the smooth edge of it. Make sure it's nice and smooth. What you don't want to see is a big old chunk taken out of it, obviously. This is our gas pedal, pretty much. This is how we produce thrust. How we go zoom through the air. Same thing over here, checking this side. Nice and smooth, anything wrong with that, everything looks good. Next thing I'm gonna do is check the air intake, the air inlets here. This thing is air cooled, it is not liquid cooled, it does not have a radiator. Air just flows into here. We just want to make sure that this is unobstructed, pretty much. There's no debris down there, no rat's nest, no bird's nest, nothing down in there that we can create a problem for us when we're flying. So that's that. Down inside, we'll check both sides. Everything's looking good. Need to kind of move the propeller a little bit.
Yeah, I don't really see anything in there. Looks good.
Sweet. As I'm over here, I'll just kind of tug on this alternator belt, make sure it's nice and tight. Everything's looking good so far. After we confirm everything is good up top, we'll start making our way down. So air filter inlet right here is how we get fresh air into our cylinders. It goes through a filter, then inducted to the cylinders. Here we have our exhaust. With this, we're just making sure it's pretty tight. Just have a little bit of play, but not too much. Make sure there's no cracking. We run the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning if it is cracked a little bit and we do turn that heater on. But other than that, shouldn't be a problem. So if it's in good condition like this one is, we shouldn't have any problems with that at all.
Nice.
With the nose gear, what we're checking is we're making sure that we have at least 3 fingers of shiny showing, which we do. We have like 6. So it's just an air oil strut. It's called an oleo strut. Sometimes that air kind of deflates a little bit, and what can happen is you'll have metal on metal grinding each other, which creates some damage. So we don't want to do that. If there's ever a situation where you have less than probably 2 or 3 fingers showing of silver, go grab a maintenance technician. They'll get it back to where it needs to be.
Cool.
Same thing over here with the tire. I'm just gonna push on it, make sure it's got good air on it. It's got good tread. It's not going anywhere. Any questions?
Nope.
Cool. All right, we're gonna keep making our way around. So over here, checking the cam locks. They're all secure. Right here is a static button. And that's how we get a little bit of our ambient air to our instruments in there. We want to make sure that's unobstructed. It's a little bitty, baby tiny hole.
What's here?
That's an external power receptacle. So if your battery dies in this and you can't get it started, screwdriver this. You can hook up it's a little tool that they have. It's like a little jumper cable, essentially like a car.
Okay.
They use a little external battery. Plug it in. You can start it up and unplug it and screw it back in.
Cool.
So it's very common in the cold winter months for that to happen. You'll come out here, try to turn it and nothing will happen. So especially if you are pre-flying and you leave the lights on for too long, it actually drains the battery. So
yeah.
you don't have enough to start. So that's why you want to be quick. Turn master on, lower the flaps, go around, check the lights, come back in, turn it off, so it doesn't run too much of the battery there. But cool, same thing over here. We're just gonna check everything with the wing. Everything looks good. Everything's looking good so far. Lights are good. Small little bit here, that's okay. Reflectors there, lights are in good condition, and everything's attached. Cool. Over here we're checking ailerons. We got all three of our counterweights. Our screws are all there marked. All good to go.
Yep.
Then we'll check our flap. I like to give it a nice little nudge, make sure it's nice and secure. It's gonna have a little play in it, but don't want it to be too crazy going everywhere. Railing looks good. Brackets look good. Railing looks good on this side. Brackets are good, and push rod's good over here as well. So that's that. Wing is done. Now we'll come down here, check our landing gear, so to kind of put some weight onto it, make sure it can stand it. And we'll come down, check the master cylinder, hydraulic line. Everything looks good. Brake pads are good. Disc is good. Tire's good, and valve stem is still good. So you can kind of see this one over here. Got a little red dot right next to the valve stem.
Yeah. Yep.
As you fly that'll kind of go away just depending on the grind and stuff that comes up the runway, but you can actually still see this one. So these tires get replaced pretty regularly. These aviation tires are really soft, so if you have a hard landing and then kind of slam on the brakes, it'll actually put a flat spot on the tire. Yep. So cool. Any questions? That is a pre-flight.
No.
I'm just gonna do a couple more things. I'm just gonna check the fuel, and then we are good to go. So our fuel tanks are located right here in our wings. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my hand up here on this handle, put a foot up here, and then kind of just pull myself up. Now I'm just gonna jump up here and check the fuel. All right, feels good in this wing.
Do they got like is it marked to let you know like how high they are and stuff?
Yeah, there's actually at the bottom, you can see the kind of the inside of the fuel tank. There's gonna be a little tab in there. That tab is 15 gallons. So
okay.
That one's right at tabs. And then this one over here, just right below tab. So 13 gallons, I'll call it. They also make little devices that you can stuck in there and plug it with your finger. It'll tell you exactly how much gallons you have. But
nice.
I don't have one of those. But yeah, that's pretty much a pre-flight, man. You got any questions or anything?
Nah, man, I'm excited. It's one thing looking at it in person, you know.
Everything up in the air. You'll have
yeah.
All right, cool. Last thing we gotta do is remove these. Don't want to run those over.
Yep.
This thing as well.
Everything else.
This is how we get our airspeed. So we always try to keep this cover on the ground so nothing gets in there. It can cause some havoc in there.
That's to measure how fast you're going for the airspeed.
Air, yep.
What, dude?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Go through here, and it gets compared.
Reads it
with this pressure, and that gives us a reading on our dial.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see every airplane has one of these.
That's cool,
usually
man.
Left wing. All right, I'm just gonna throw this stuff back here, and then we'll get going. Alright, so just hop in just like a car. I have to lower my seat a little bit. If you need to hide it,
oh yeah, I'm gonna have to go forward. So
yeah, so your seat has a little adjust right here, little handle.
Yeah.
Just lift up on it and pull yourself forward. It should slide.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that should be good.
There you go.
Alright.
Once again, I'll show you where you need to be sitting. Alright, cool. So the first thing I always do when I get in is throw the seatbelt on. You're just gonna be over here on this side, kind of a little bit reverse of the car.
Come on now.
There we go.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Next thing I do is I just kind of slide my seat forward. Seat position is very important when you're flying.
Actually, I got this flipped up. There we go.
Cool. Sweet. Shut the door, you might have to pop that window open with that little latch right there. There you go. Cool, now just pull the door towards you. Make sure you latch it and throw the handle down. That's it.
Which way?
So just pull it down towards your leg there.
Oh,
so
this
go
way?
forward, yep. There it
Oh,
goes.
there it
Now it's
goes.
latched, and
Okay.
then shut it on the outside as well. It's not going anywhere.
Cool. Should I leave the window open or?
Yeah, we'll leave it open for now. It'll get very
Alright.
hot in here if we don't. So, cool. I'll shut mine next. Sometimes I get forceful with them. All right, cool. So what I like to do is I like to kind of just press my feet on the pedals and make sure that I can reach them all very comfortably.
So how far?
So they go pretty much almost to the floor, to the left and the right. That's how we're gonna steer ourselves. So left and then right.
Okay, let me move up just slightly.
All right, should lock in position. That should be a little bit better for you.
How close are the pedals to each other? Okay, there we go. Yeah, I drive manual transmission, so okay, so I don't have to like really press it down.
No,
like,
just small inputs is all it takes.
until
When
it
you're flying.
gets
When you're on the
to-
ground, I'll be taxiing this for the most part today, but you'll kind of see as I'm putting my inputs in kind of what the airplane's doing. So,
All right, cool.
cool. All right, how's that feel? You feel good?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. We're gonna go with the start checklist here. All right, flight's complete. Passenger briefing. Seatbelts and harnesses are to be worn at all times of the day. Air vents are here if we need them. Fire extinguisher is going to be down here in the middle between us. If there's a fire, I'll handle that situation. I'll launch it from the floor and put the fire out. In the event of emergency today, we're going to be exiting to our 2 emergency exits that we have. We just have 2 doors. And we'll be exiting out and away from the propeller and backwards. We won't ever go towards that engine there. Just because there's fuel and all kinds of things that can create burns and stuff. So we'll go to the back of the airplane and wait for help. Talking, we're going to keep talking down to a minimum. By talking, I mean non-essential conversation. So I mean like, how's your dog doing, stuff. We'll keep that to, we'll wait for that in cruise. We can talk about that. But for now, kind of, as we're in the airport environment, I'm going to be handling all the communication. So I'll be focused on what they're saying to me. I'll be teaching you. We'll go from there. So
Cool.
any questions over anything?
Nope.
All right, cool. Briefing's done. Belts and harnesses are on and secure. Yours is on and secure. Brakes can be easily reached. Avionics are off. Circuit breakers, I'm gonna check all these real quick. All right, those are all pushed in. The ones that we need are good. Fuel selectors on both. And now we're gonna start. So beacon's gonna come on, this big light here. Flash switch gonna come on. Put the key, part of my reach here, I'm gonna reach across your leg.
You're good.
All the way over to the ignition switch over there.
Yep.
Cool. All right, sweet. Now we're gonna do a little bit of priming here. So our temperature's still in the green. We'll try a hot start and see if we can get it started. We'll go throttle halfway open and make sure it's all the way cut off. We're gonna check left, center, right behind us. We're gonna clear prop, clear prop. I'm gonna hold the brakes nice and tight and try to crank this thing up and see if we can get it going. Ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. This is what we go. So make sure my arm doesn't work.